all of the rumors are true. Let me address that. Get it out of the way. I killed 3 people last night. In these retro games, and I'm going to tell you all about what I've been playing. Let's get started. We're going to go through 4 games that I'm currently playing. 3 of which are recent pickups. And you know I only get bangers, so get your diapers ready. Put them on. You got about 30 seconds before you're going to need a diaper. I'm already wearing mine. I'm always wearing a diaper. Adult-sized diaper. You can get them at the store. Go to Walmart. They probably have a whole friggin' aisle of adult-sized diapers. Or get them on Amazon. You're too embarrassed to buy them? You shouldn't even be embarrassed. It's normal nowadays. When you're playing nothing but bangers and you're getting bangers all day long, getting rare games left, right, and center. When you're collecting retro games, you're gonna want a diaper. Take it from somebody who knows. Have you seen what's behind me? I clearly have an addiction. I'm mentally insane. I'm legally insane. I'm mentally ill. That's what happens. So let's get into the first one. I gave you 30 seconds. I hope it was enough time. Signalis for the Nintendo Switch.
Damn!
Now this game is cheap, by the way. You can get this $40 brand spanking new on Amazon. Shipped to your door. $40 Canadian. I only do prices in Canadian dollars, okay? Now the reason I got this game is because all of the people talking about this game compared it to Resident Evil. Number 1 specifically. At least that's how I interpreted it. And so I'm a couple hours into this game. I'm not too far. Although I think it's only I think I've read it takes about 8 or 9 hours to complete, so it's probably not very long of a game. So for those who don't know, this is a top-down 2.5D survival horror / shooter, reminiscent of Resident Evil. Okay, this game, it's basically a 2.5D 16-bit style graphics, pixel art graphics version of Resident Evil. It's an exact clone. That's the only way to describe it, and it's the best way to describe it. And that alone screams this game is awesome, and I've played it to now verify that to be true. I'm not going to get too into the story, and to be honest, I don't know too much about it because I haven't gotten far enough. They reveal little tiny bits of the story as you progress. So, and it does have a very good story, and that was a requirement for me to want to play this. I'm not interested in a game like this if it doesn't have a good story. It's got to at least have something half decent. It has to. Resident Evil had something half decent. The mystery of that mansion, going into that mansion, this is like pre-internet days too. You got to remember that. And if the internet existed, barely anyone was using it, because I sure as hell didn't have the internet back then. That was for rich people. If it even existed back then. I guess it did exist, but it was only rich people had it. And the mysteries of that mansion were very slowly revealed. It was a very slow process. But it was that whole mystery, that element of horror and mystery mixed together. And you get that in this game. You get that. I will say one thing. I will say the first time that I really truly felt that like this was actually Resident Evil and actually scary. Because one of the things going into this, I was thinking, well, it's 2.5D. Can they really make it scary? And they can. They do a really good job for what they're working with. And I did get a jump scare reminiscent to that of... It reminded me, I had PTSD flashbacks back to the Resident Evil 1 dog jumping through the window. That was the first big jump scare. And that was such a famous scene. That's the same scene that I made friends come over and play. Because it was so early on, I would bring friends over and I would make them play Resident Evil for the first time, them not knowing what it was. I wouldn't tell them. They'd just be like, hey man, just try this game. It's really fun. And I turn up the volume, turn up real loud, because the game is basically silent up until that scene. Complete silence. And I would just wait for them to get to that scene and hope that they would get a big jump scare and they would crap their pants. And none of them were wearing diapers back then. We didn't even know about adult-sized diapers back then because we weren't adults yet. And as soon as they pass the scene, I turn it off. I say, I don't even care if they're having fun. Like, hey, let me keep playing. No, I'm done. I wanted you to play it for that one scene. That's it. I'm done. Turn it off. We're going to play something else now. We're going to play a 2-player game. So that does happen in this game. There is a initial jump scare to let you know, hey, all this silence going on, there could be something coming out of any corner at any time to come and get you and kill you, and may involve a jump scare or not. So that's what really set the scene. When you hit that moment in this game, when you hit that first moment, that's when you fully, truly understand, okay, this is a horror game, a survival horror. Because up until that point, nothing happens that's scary. There's nothing scary. I was going through it, and I was like, is this game going to be any good? And when I hit that scene, I said, oh, I am interested in this game now. I think it's going to be really interesting. And I continued to play it after that moment with more enthusiasm. So another thing about this game is there are puzzles, again, similar to Resident Evil. And that at first had me a little bit worried because I don't like puzzles. I'm not a fan. I get PTSD from puzzles, and usually I cheat. Whenever there's puzzles, I cheat. But I haven't cheated yet, and I'm sure there's going to be harder puzzles coming up, and maybe I'll cheat later. But so far, the puzzles that I've run into I was able to solve with no problems. And the gist that I'm getting is that all puzzles are solvable as long as you explore and pay attention to the story and pay attention to the documents that you find and the information provided on those documents. And you have to read the documents to get the full story. They're painting a picture. Every piece of information that you find throughout the levels or throughout the game reveals more about what happened. By the way, this is a futuristic game where humans have clearly colonized multiple planets, and you play as an AI replica, they call it. So you are some sort of robot replica, AI replica, and you are looking for your partner. And by the way, there are multiple endings for this game, which means that you can do multiple playthroughs. So I have not beaten it yet, but if I get the crummy ending, I will play it again. But I don't intend to play it until I get every single ending, but I will play it a second time if I get a bad ending. I'll play it a second time. Otherwise, I'm gonna go to YouTube for the rest of the endings. I'm sure somebody's posted them. So that's the first game that I'm currently playing. That's a recent pickup. I just got it out straight off of Amazon. It's published by Humble Games, by the way. Some people speculate that this might be a rare game in the future, like a highly sought after game. And if you've been watching my channel, you know that horror games and survival horror games do especially well long term. This game just came out. It's not going up in price anytime soon. I don't know how many they printed. I suspect it didn't have a super high print run though. So what else am I playing? Here's a game. Gallop and Ride. What the hell? I don't know how that got in there, guys. I don't know how that got in there. I don't know anything about this game. I don't know why it's in my current playlist. I don't know anything about this. Somebody's playing a joke on me. I don't know anything about the fact that you can groom your horses with using the Wii remote. I don't know anything about the fact that you can train, groom, and massage your horses using that sexy Wii remote. I don't know anything about. I never even heard of that game. I meant to pull up this game right here, Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, Banger of the Year Edition. Banger of the Year. Look at this. Platinum hits. It's platinum hits for a reason. I already know it's good. I've only just started it. This is a game that I would have killed to have when I was younger. It's got all the DLC. This is a game I would have killed to have when I was younger. Now, the only problem with this game is I could tell that you can easily sink in 1,000 hours. This is one of those games that you can do 100 playthroughs, and I was actually talking to a coworker of mine about this game just yesterday, I think it was, actually, believe it or not. No, 2 days ago. 1 or 2 days ago. And he was saying he's played this. He played the PC version, though. And he was saying he did multiple playthroughs with like 3 or 4 different characters, experimenting, trying different things. And he would put in like 50 to 100 hours plus for each character, and he wouldn't even get like halfway through the game. Because there's so many side quests that you can do, and you get distracted from the main story, I guess. Well, my plan is to not get too distracted from the main story. I actually do want to beat the game, and I want to see if it has a good story to the main story. But I'm already sidetracked. I'm already on the first side mission, although I might take a break from it. Because here's the thing about this game. So like I said, I'm brand new to the game. I know nothing. I didn't check out any reviews. I know nothing. I'm going into it blind. That's the way I want to do it for the most part. I might cheat later and find out where to get the rare spells and the rare stuff if I get stuck and whatnot. But I'm still in the very first town. I've only briefly explored outside of town because I already died 3 or 4 times. I didn't realize that if you steal something in front of somebody and they see you do it, I didn't know that the game was so advanced that they're gonna fight you. And so I got knocked out and killed a couple of times for stealing items from people. Apparently they don't like it if you go into their house, say 1 or 2 words to them, and then start taking their stuff. They don't like that. And I was trying to fight back. It wouldn't let me fight back. So I don't know what the deal is, why I wasn't able to fight back. Maybe I was pushing the wrong buttons. I wanted to get into a fist fight. I tried pulling out my dagger. It wouldn't let me do that. So I don't know what the deal is. I'm doing something wrong. Yeah, I died twice to the same bimbo that I was trying to steal stuff from. And then I realized, okay, you can't steal stuff in front of people. But then I went into the shopkeeper's hut, little tavern, shopkeeper. And I thought, oh, well, he's got all this good stuff on the table here. Let me just see if it'll let me take some of it. Because sometimes it'll let you do it. Sometimes you can steal stuff in front of people and they don't notice. So I just wanted to try one item. Just one item. And of course I stole it. And then he cast a bloody lightning bolt on me. And he had his wife beside him. I'm assuming it was the wife. And she started punching me at the same time. So I died again. So I've learned I'm not going to steal stuff anymore. I'm not trying to play a thief character, so I decided, okay, chill out with the stealing. I'm just a mage. I'm going to play the mage. And I'm going to summon stuff. I'm a conjuration magic specialist. I've already summoned an ancestral ghost. It doesn't do much damage yet, though. The enemies that I have encountered, I end up casting fireball on. Because that's where the real damage is. My ghost is incredibly weak. That's my only complaint so far. But yeah, I'm playing through this, and I'm actually gonna beat the entire game. I'm not gonna do what my coworker did and not even beat the game, where he just kept making new characters and like maxing out all their stats. I'm gonna do that too, but I'm actually gonna beat the game as well. Okay, so the next game that I'm currently playing, this is a really interesting one. I bought this not knowing what it was. This is called ReZero Starting Life in Another World. Day 1, Prophecy of the Throne Day 1 edition. I bought this completely blind. I think I paid $40 for it. I forgot to write it down. It was 40 or 45. I don't remember. But I got, okay, so it's in my console as we speak. The cart. I bought it mainly because it looked like an RPG. You can kind of tell that anime style graphics looks like an RPG. And the other thing that I noticed is it's also rare. Try and buy one right now. Try and buy one right now. Go on eBay. Do whatever you got to do. Try and find a used copy CIB. It's almost impossible. You're not even going to find one. When I checked today, 0 available. Not even a loose disc. Not even a loose cart. You can get brand new ones, and by the way, there's like a big box edition brand new one comes with a pin set. That's the rare one. That's the one that you probably want anyway. But I wasn't looking to pay big bucks. Okay, you're looking at over $100 for one of those. I wasn't looking to pay a ton of money. So I got this blind, and when I started to play it, I quickly realized this is what I would call a visual novel style game. But I kept playing it anyway, even though the story wasn't all that great. And I noticed that there is a combat strategy, tactical RPG combat system going on. They call it a tactical adventure game. So I call it a tactical adventure visual novel game, because most of the game is the visual novel aspect to it. There are certain portions of the game where you're running around using your 3D character, but the story and most of the game is the story, which is the visual novel aspect. And I'm not a fan of that. So I'm not a fan of this game. So for that reason, I'm not recommending it, but I'm still playing it, and I'm going to finish it because I'm legally insane and I have some sort of mental illness that I cannot just start a game and then not finish it. I can't do that anymore. I used to be able to do that, but I can't do it anymore. So I'm going to finish it. I read online it's about 20 hours to complete it. But here's what's cool about it. The combat is very unique. So I'm going to give it a +1 for having very unique combat, because in the strategy RPG sessions, the tactical combat portions, the missions, your party members are fighting, but you're not controlling them. The AI is controlling your party, and your party is fighting the enemy. Your objective, you're playing this non-combative character, and you're a support role. You're trying to help your team members kill the rest of the enemy and or complete some sort of very specific mission. And how you do that is you're running around the map trying to look for hidden objects or items to help your teammates, or do something on the map. So you're basically running around using items. That's your version of combat. You don't do fist fights, you don't cast spells, but you can use items or throw items or affect the terrain in a certain way by doing something. And the other part of the combat is that you are supposed to gather intel. So you're like a spy, sort of. And that'll help your team as well by gathering the intel. And if you do a poor job, it means that it will make that level much, much more difficult to actually beat. And it'll make it harder for your party members to actually defeat the enemy. So I thought that was really interesting that they've just tried this new way of combat. And again, I'm not necessarily recommending it. I think it's based on an anime. I know nothing. This is like a series or an anime or something. I know nothing about it. Maybe one or two of you out there know something about this. I know nothing about it. So there's probably a cult following of people that love these games and or love the anime. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Okay, this is just the way it is. But I'm still gonna play it anyway because I'm legally insane and I'm gonna beat it. I'm gonna waste 20 hours doing it. But these are the 3 games that I'm focusing on, and now for the 4th game, Octopath Traveler. Yes, I'm still playing it. And I'm gonna have a whole separate video on just this game in the future. I've beaten the entire game, and I'm at the bonus hidden boss, which I had to YouTube to figure out how to even get to. Because when I beat the game, I thought, what the hell? Like, you can still, after you beat the game, you can still play the game. So you're left with an unfinished ending, really. I'm not going to reveal anything beyond that. So if you ever do beat the game, you might want to go on YouTube or Google to figure out what you have to do next to get to that final boss. And I had a love-hate relationship with this game. But I'll tell you right now, Octopath Traveler, I fell in love with it by the end of the game. And I had read that before. I had read people talk about that and say that the game starts off very slow, but really picks up toward the end. And I can agree with that. My only complaint is that it took me over 100 hours to get to that end game. So it took way too long for the game to really pick up. But by the end of the game, you're in love with some of the characters. Even the character that I hated the most, story-wise, Ophelia, she had a good story toward the end. She always struck me as a very weak character. Her story sucked, but story-wise it picked up, but also her as a character really picked up toward the end. Toward the end of the game, I don't consider this a spoiler, but whatever. If it's a spoiler, whatever. She turned into a complete badass by the end of that game. Like, she turned into a character that was actually had some serious progression combat wise and like character wise. So to see that side of her at the end of the game, I thought that was good because it actually made me like the character. Because otherwise I hated her. She's part of the reason I almost stopped playing the game. Because that's how bad she was. But by the end of the game, you will fall in love with every single character. So these are the games that I've been playing. And 3 of them are recent pickups. I don't know how Gallop and Ride got in there. It's not like I play that game, a couple hours every other day or so. It's not like I'm riding the horse around exploring the beaches and exploring the island. I don't do that. That type of game isn't for me. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed my list of games that I'm currently playing, 3 of which are recent pickups. I'm recommending 2 out of the 3. Morrowind, Banger of the Year Edition, OG Xbox. I'm definitely recommending that. Signalis, 100% you need to get it. If you're a Resident Evil fan, survival horror fan, or even a collector in general, that's a game you're going to want in your collection because this is a game that could easily become a cult classic in the future. It's got a good story too. I'm really digging the story. They barely revealed anything. But I know that other people have actually talked about this story as well, and they said that they really enjoyed this story. It's a holographic image there as well, by the way. I'm going to read you the back of the box too. So, and this is part of the story. So it says, "Remember our promise." And I don't know what the promise is, but I know that this is going to play a big role in the game. But this replica is looking for this girl. So let's read the back. Discover terrifying secrets, challenging puzzles. I'll cheat for anything that gets too challenging. But so far I'm confident that I could actually solve every puzzle on my own. Challenging puzzles and nightmarish creatures in a tense and melancholic experience. Oh man, I don't even know what that means. In a tense and melancholic experience of cosmic dread and classic psychological survival horror. 10 out of 10 so far, guys. If you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm trying to get to over 9,000 subscribers. On my way to collecting over 9,000 retro video games. And that includes Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch is the very last console that I will ever collect for. I am done after the Nintendo Switch. Unless Nintendo releases something absolutely insane, like a Nintendo Switch Pro, I might collect for that. I probably will. But beyond that, I'm out. I'm done. Hypothetically speaking, because I said that a long time ago too. My original plan, I wasn't even going to collect for the 360, the PS3, or the Wii. Or the Wii U. And I ended up adding all of those in my collection. So who knows? I mean, I might start collecting. I might just be collecting until the day I die. I'm going to need a bigger house and probably a couple of storage units.
Null, 1, 7, 0, 1, 7, 0.